All right, Joe Biden is continuing to be dogged by claims of international corruption stemming from his son Hunter's dealings in Ukraine while Biden was vice president. And clearly it has struck a nerve as sleepy, creepy Uncle Joe fired back at former New York City Mayor Rudy Giuliani earlier today for spotlighting the issue. Here to explain more is attorney for the president, former New York City Mayor, well, the country's mayor, Rudy Giuliani. Boy, you're in trouble and in a controversy. I'm shocked. I've never seen this before.
I've never been in a controversy before.
I bet
Sean,
you're very
you know
upset
that.
and worried.
Gosh, I'm really worried about Joe. I also think methinks the man protests too much. Look, Sean, it's a case that is crying out to be investigated. If it doesn't get investigated, we just don't have equal justice in this country. Biden's son took millions of dollars out of the Ukraine and over $1 billion out of China, while Joe Biden, as vice president, was really directing the relief for Ukraine, the loan guarantees, well over $1 billion of loan guarantees. His son then got under investigation. Well, for good reason. He was working for the most corrupt company in Ukraine. He was working for a Ukrainian oligarch who was being protected by Putin, the same Putin that we've been hearing about all this time, right? Imagine that. Putin's friend was paying Joe's son 3, 4, 5, possibly more millions of dollars. And he got under investigation. And Joe bragged 2 years later that he got the prosecutor general fired. He just left out of it that the prosecutor general was investigating his son and his son's crooked boss. And then afterwards, the case disappeared.
To help explain to people, there's a separate issue with China that Peter Schweitzer covers in his book. Biden's son flies with him to China within a week or so after. He's doing a deal he's never done in his life, worth a fortune. But I want to play, Ukraine is now begging to give us information that, in fact, they wanted to disrupt our elections in 2016 to help Hillary Clinton. We're all the collusion people now. And Joe Biden literally leveraged $1 billion taxpayer dollars, demanding in 6 hours that a prosecutor investigating his own son gets fired as a result of his connections to this energy company. Here's the tape.
We're not going to give you the $1 billion. They said, you have no authority. You're not the president. The president said, I said, call him. I said, I'm telling you, you're not getting the $1 billion. I said, you're not getting the $1 billion. I'm going to be leaving here. And I think it was, 6 hours? I looked, I said, I'm leaving in 6 hours. If the prosecutor's not fired, you're not getting the money. Oh, son of a got fired.
He's leveraging our money to get the guy fired that's investigating his son.
The arrogance of that is astounding, Sean. He fails to say, bragging about how he strong-armed the guy out, which is what he says at the beginning. He fails to say that his son was under investigation for money laundering, that after he got the guy thrown out, his son and the crooked oligarch were both let out of the investigation. Now, the Ukrainians have reopened that investigation, and they have been trying to get this information to us for months. But the FBI wouldn't take it. The Justice Department wouldn't take it because our ambassador there was working for Hillary Clinton, working for the Democrats and for George Soros. And she got fired finally, but she was blocking it. And there is overwhelming evidence of Ukrainian information being given to Democratic National Committee operatives and to Hillary operatives, and the conduit was our embassy in Ukraine. And I'm not just saying this. There's a court decision in Ukraine that nobody here paid attention to in December of last year, finding an individual guilty of passing on information to harm Donald Trump, and they find him guilty under Ukrainian law. That man is now one of the chief advisors to the new president-elect of the Ukraine, which is the reason I canceled my trip.
They're willing to hand us this evidence, and they're admitting that they were trying to influence our elections to help Hillary. You said you might go over and investigate, and boy, the left-wing media, the mob had that
was a complete setup. So I set up this meeting a week earlier 2 days before, I get a call that it's been leaked to the New York Times that two people around him, around the new president-elect, were people that were enemies of Donald Trump, and one of them's been convicted of it. And I was told that this was coordinated, and that when I went there, even though I'm not, I mean, Biden's going to be investigated no matter what. You can't escape those facts, no matter how much the media tries to suppress it, because there isn't equal treatment with them. But I want to make sure they don't suppress the investigation of all of this information and all of this dirt that they were digging up that goes back at least as early as January of 2016 with a meeting in Obama's White
last
House.
question. Will you go there?
I'll go there as soon as I feel that I can have a useful conversation and this president is not surrounded by enemies of Donald Trump. Convicted enemies of Donald Trump.
Unbelievable story, and him bragging on tape about holding American money hostage, not telling that little part about his son and the amount of money both in China, Ukraine, and the attempt to influence our election. We're all the I believers. We're all the collusion people, just like we're all the obstruction people when it comes to Hillary Clinton's email server. Or I believe Kavanaugh when he's in high school, but silence when it comes to the lieutenant governor of the Commonwealth of Virginia. All right, busy news night. We continue. Thank you.